My name is Jason Black. I am employed with the Civil Service as a trainee solicitor.
Thank you. And can you tell us a bit about what made you want to study at the University of Edinburgh and why you studied law?
I never wanted to study at Edinburgh to begin with. No, that it's not I didn't want to, it's just I never thought to. It was my pal from school, he wanted to go here, and so we both applied. I got in and he didn't, so I ended up coming anyway. I ordered one of the prospectus, is that a better way of saying that, but I ordered one of those, had a read through it, and I was hooked. So that, nudged me in the direction of Edinburgh, and then getting to read up on history and things like that. I know the law course here is very good, and so I was very lucky. So my dad as well, he would never allow me to do anything else when he realised I had the offer from here, so it was one of those ones. But in terms of law itself, I always wanted to become a lawyer. For me it was non-negotiable, it was always that and nothing else. And so when I had the offer for Edinburgh, it was just an added bonus. So
did you always want to work for civil service, or did you have any other areas of law in mind?
I always wanted to be a criminal defence lawyer. That was my dream at one point. And while I get to work in criminal law, I just I go to traineeship and things. And it's not to say I'll never do criminal defence, but it's just for right now, getting to work with the civil service and things is, I feel quite lucky. So I'm really happy with where I'm at. But criminal law was always the thing I wanted to do.
We also see that you were part of the Law Society during your time at Edinburgh. How did that help shape your experience at Edinburgh?
It was brilliant. So, first and foremost, I should probably say that when I put my name forward for the Law Society, I thought it was the law council. No, it was a criminal application. It was so embarrassing when I got a message to say, by the way, you've applied for the wrong thing. Do you still want to apply? And I was like, okay, I'll do it. When I realised it was the social aspect of it, I was quite keen, because my year was hit by COVID a year and a half in, so it was halfway through my second year, COVID struck and everything shut down, so it was rubbish. And so when I was in third year, that was when I first got into the Law Society, and my third year everything was remote, so we did, as a committee, we did things like on Zoom, we did a surprise cocktail thing and stuff, but there was nothing like in person. So I wanted to be involved because initially I wanted to have a voice for the students. After that, a lot of students were losing their voice with how steaming they would get at the event. So, but it was good to be involved in the social aspect, and I think because when you're at a place like here, it's good to get that escape, because a lot of people I think find themselves strictly studying and stuff like that. And I think the Law Society gives you that escape at uni, which everybody's doing, everybody's drinking and all the rest of it, but at least this was unorganised. These were organised things and brilliant events. So,
what led you to do the Masters and the Diploma in Aberdeen?
Both of them were against my will. I didn't have the best first 2 years of uni, and that's what the admissions are largely based on for diploma. So those first 2 years for me weren't great, the results weren't great. I passed, it's great, a lot of passes. Nobody advised me back in first year and second year that if you could grab marks, you're going to struggle with diploma. When I had special circumstances approved, so I could have maybe had the chance to resit, get a better mark or whatever. But I stayed my passes, I kept going thinking I'd be fine, and then I got to fourth year, I applied for diploma, and I get rejected flat out. In that year there were clearing spaces at Aberdeen, but I didn't want to go up to Aberdeen at that point. But I had also applied for the Masters in International Law and Security at Glasgow. I love international law, love all that, like terrorism or anything to do with cross-border stuff, I loved it. And so it was a bit of a happy accident getting into the diploma, because I'm really happy with it worked out the way it did. Studying the Masters itself allowed me to take what I was interested in and look at it in far more detail compared to the LLB allowed. LLB was good when you had honours year to do in your dissertation and stuff, something you're interested in, but when you do a Masters, it's so much more central to you. However, when I finished the Masters, I needed to get a diploma so that I could do my traineeship. And so at that point, I had no choice but to go to Aberdeen. Got a clearing space. Very pleased that I did. Loved it up there. It's no offence to Edinburgh, but it's one of my best experiences at uni, I think, because I was just able to immerse myself in it. Because I had to move up there when I was here at Edinburgh and Glasgow. I was commuting. I never really stayed. But when I went to Aberdeen, I had no choice. And so I get the proper experience of it.
Can I just circle back to, so obviously you used to talk about got rejected from Edinburgh. If you're happy to sort of discuss how you feel, because often I think law students and people are in circumstances, it's something that's already talked about, but you're in a successful place now. How has that helped you move forward, and how did you feel at the time?
Firstly, this idea of being a uni snob, the idea that you need to go to Aberdeen is a great uni, I'm not taking that away from it, but my point is a lot of people think Aberdeen is way up there and they look at rankings and stuff like that. But the reality is if you go to a place where you feel that you're part of it, it works so great. And I don't think logically like that when I was initially rejected for Edinburgh and Glasgow. To begin with, you just feel rejected and it feels a bit rubbish. It's not until you actually take that leap and go and do it that you realise, with the benefit of hindsight, that it's all worked out great. And so when I was rejected initially, it was brutal, because I didn't really be here for 4 years. I didn't apply to Edinburgh straight from 4th year. I applied to Glasgow and Strathclyde at that point. It wasn't until after my Masters that I then reapplied to Edinburgh, because I was away for a year and I realised I missed it, and I wanted to come back. Didn't get back, but the rejection itself is brutal. It's never nice to be rejected, especially from a place where you spend 4 years of your life and stuff. However, the reality is it's a very competitive place. You're lucky, very lucky to get here in the first place. But it probably opened my eyes up to the fact that it's not be all and end all, and there are options out there. And as you say, that I'm now very fortunate that I'm doing my traineeship. I've managed to get to the place where I would have got, whether it was at Edinburgh. In fact, I applied to my traineeship that I'm just now after being rejected in that year, so after my Masters year. So if it wasn't for that initial rejection for diploma and stuff, I would maybe be in a completely different place. So it's all worked out. Not to be flowery about it, but it's worked out.
Thank you for sharing that. Great to see.
And what made you want to be a tutor of evidence law?
Well, I was interested in the academic side. Again, as I say, I didn't get to enjoy first and second year as best as I would have liked to for a number of reasons. But when I came to the end of my Masters, I realised if I go and work in practice law, I'll lose the opportunity to explore the academic stuff that I'm interested in. And so I emailed the law school here and asked if there were any opportunities, and just by sheer luck, they were recruiting tutors, and when I was reading that, I thought, you know, it's a really good opportunity. I think a good it'll allow me to do two things. Firstly, explore the academic interest, but secondly, hopefully work with students that diverse backgrounds, and it's not just, it's people from a range of socio-economic backgrounds who I know from experience will be having difficulties, will be struggling to get involved in stuff, and I just wanted, from a teaching perspective, to be able to help them in some way. Not the adequate damsels in distress or anything, but I know that exists. I know those struggles and people have those difficulties, and I know it exists, but it's very seldom spoke about. And so tutoring is an opportunity for me to explore academic side of what I'm interested in, but also to hopefully support students with similar experiences to mine.
You've also been a part of, very heavily part of the youth representation. So what motivated you to get involved in such a role in the youth parliament?
Well, at school I loved modern studies was, I think, my favourite subject that I did at school, and my teacher, Miss Firth, she helped me, focus that energy and that interest into an organisation which was the Youth Parliament. I think at the time you act all politician, like, oh, we need to change this, that, and the next time. I think with a bit of experience you realise there's practical aspects of it, especially with subsequent professional experiences that I think we talk about. You come to realise that it's a lot harder to make these changes. But when I was in school, you've bold ideas, you want to be involved, you want to be heard, which I think is a big problem, especially in today's climate, being heard and taken seriously. Because a lot of the time politicians can maybe say, oh, we need to listen to people and all that stuff, but when it comes to actually doing it, it's a bit harder. So being involved in the youth parliament allowed me, I love talking, I love using my voice, so it allows you to do that and hopefully give young people a platform to have some form of change. We managed to get involved in quite a good few campaigns.
Excellent. And you've also previously worked as a parliamentary researcher at the Scottish Parliament. So what sort of skills and insights have you learned from that? What's been valuable in your legal career so far?
For doing the research work was amazing. I loved it, and I've got no doubt that if it wasn't for that experience working for the MSP, the way she pushed me, she took my development so seriously. She knew I was only there, not only that, but she knew I was there because I had this other destination I wanted to get, and working for her was one way towards that. So she pushed me. Not only the skills, but the attitude that she builds up for me, especially in politics. You need to have a thick skin, but you also need to have a bit of a brass neck. You need to be able to, have the guts to invest yourself in something. Invest yourself and really take opportunities with both hands and pursue them. And if there's something you care about, working for an MSP you're quite lucky because you might have a joint interest in the work that they're doing, and so you get to really invest yourself. The research aspect, yourselves studying law and having to, especially as a lawyer, you need to use those skills and apply them in a way that allows you to get an answer, but be able to back up with the same. So especially the decision-making aspect, the evidence-based decisions and stuff, being a researcher helping with that, because you're getting to immerse yourself in research and stuff that, to be honest, probably no interest in, but at the end of it, you know a bit more about the subject, but you also know more how to research for the staff, as that sounds. So much more to research than simply Googling, which is my point. So when it comes to law, it's transferable skills there, and I think I was so lucky that I had the research opportunity, because it's supplementing not only interest in law, but even the tutoring and things. Knowing where to start as a tutor and knowing where to start as a researcher and as a lawyer is I think fundamental. So
is that something you did after you graduated, or was that during
researcher? I started as a researcher in February and I graduated in July. So I didn't have the benefit of the research skills from my LLB as much as I did for when I started the masters and stuff. But I had 2.5 years experience as a researcher, and I learned so much, especially working in politics. Everything moves so quickly.
How did you find that opportunity, and how did other people find that?
There's a Twitter page, Work for MSP, something like that, and they advertise any opportunities with MSPs, but Scottish Parliament website, stuff like that. One of those opportunities you need to go find, and Edinburgh students get the benefit that the Parliament's down the road. So it's somewhere I'd 100% recommend trying to get in if you can, because it gives you so many skills. But there's also things beyond working for the MSP. You can work for the Scottish Parliament Information Centre, stuff like that. It's like a hub, and there's so many opportunities within it beyond politics. And even for me, politics-wise, interested, yes, but when you get to work for the MSP, it's not just about nailing your colours to a mast and saying, I believe this and that's it. No, you get to go beyond that and apply yourself and work on things that you might not necessarily personally agree with, but you go to your job. So it was really valuable for that, so I would recommend it to anybody.
And you were selected for the Faculty of Advocates programme. Can you tell us a bit about what that is and what you learned from that?
Yeah, so that was run through diploma. Every diploma provider had two candidates that they put forward, and so you had to apply. You did an interview thing with the university, and then they put your name forward. And what we did was we went to Parliament House and we were basically paired up with mini devils, so you get the real thing is the devil and the devil master. We were mini devils, we had mini devil masters, and those were junior advocates who weren't get past, I think, the 7 year point where you're allowed to be a devil master, So this was in their day-by-day lives and the work that they're doing. It's so interesting. It's some of the work is junior, standard junior council and things, the Scottish Government, but in the day-to-day they're doing a lot of other civil stuff, international law and stuff, so you get a big range of stuff that you get to see that you would ordinarily never. Somebody interested in criminal law, I wouldn't necessarily be interested in, but for getting that insight through them. So for me personally, it was just the faculty advocates programme, just it opens the doors to the faculty, which I think sometimes misconstrued as maybe being like boys can old gentlemen's club and all that stuff, but you realise that it's so much more than that, and you can actually get in so much. They talk about collegiality, and that's the thing, and they really do demonstrate that it's brilliant.
So that's something you definitely recommend then for students that are interested in that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Diploma students, 100%. It's the insights you're getting, and it's you're really in it and stuff, and they take care of you and stuff, and they focus on the training as well. You do like it's world class advocacy training you do. You realise it's so much more than standing up and talking advocacy. It's written advocacy, your oral advocacy, all of it, but they show you and how to do it in a way that's based on strong fundamental principles such as collegiality and things like that. So it's a really good place to go on.
So we've looked into your background and a lot of broader things you've done, and it's led you to this path where you are now. But what does now look for you on a day-to-day basis, and the skills you've learned, and how is that all encapsulated in what you're doing just now?
I'd say that every experience that I've had the opportunity to be involved in has, in one way or another, led to me being able to do my traineeship and practice law so much better than I think I would have otherwise. Like, I think I know the whole, by no means am I like the whole package, so to speak, when it comes to, not at all, so much more to learn, but the experiences I've had have helped me. It feels like giving me like a good boost for somebody who'd never had any inroads to law really before these opportunities. It helps you get on, and it helps you see what I think a lot of other people who have the opportunity of like having family and family friends and stuff, like they get insights into it that might be helpful, but it's not until you're actually doing these things like the faculty advocates, the mini Devon programme, the work I had the opportunity to do as a researcher and stuff. It's not until you do those that you actually realise so much more to law than reading it and things. And to help you be as good at your profession as you can be, those experiences really give you a boost. Because that's what you want to do. Where I think with law, it's no any other job. It becomes like a livelihood type thing. And you need to be willing to jump in 2 feet first into it. And so having those opportunities equip you with skills to make sure that you can thrive or sink or swim, so you don't sink.
So you think like all the really practical experience is more important than anything you really do? Obviously university is really important as well, but it's the practical side that you learn the most in.
Absolutely. University is brilliant for your confidence and your fundamental skills, I would say. When you start doing these practical experiences though, it helps you see the world of work in a very realistic way, and that everybody, people with different backgrounds again, some people have got a bit more of an advantage than others. That's fine, that's the reality of it, but when you start doing these practical experiences, you start to actually see, I can do this stuff, I can be good at it when you have the proper support in place. And so university is brilliant. It's good for, again, the social side of it, the studying fundamental sides of it, but I think it's when you start doing these practical things that you realise that there's so much more to it, and you want to do your best at it.
Thank you. And you've had also experience with law firms like Herbert Smith Freehills and Amaran Warco, so can you tell us a bit about those experiences and how they came about?
Well, Herbert Smith Freehills, that was an opportunity through the Social Mobility Foundation. That was introduced to me when I was in school. It was in fourth year, fifth year maybe. And they, as the name suggests, Social Mobility Foundation, they try to get you into professions. It's not just law related, it's a bunch of things. And I had the opportunity to go and do it's like a week-long internship at Herbert Smith, which is a magic circle from, maybe just outside.
Good job, just outside.
Just outside the circle. It's almost a magic circle fund, but gave great insight into the exciting bit, like the high-rise building and the floaty ceiling windows. You get to see all that. It felt like such, like when you go in and see it. It's not like that in practice, but looking at everything was just so cool. Obviously, I came to realise that no amount of high-rise building or floaty ceiling windows would make me any good at corporate law in any way. I'm hopeless at it. But it gave you an in to actually see what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's what a lot of people, especially people who come from good backgrounds, who get into these things, who, if you don't have experience in these things, you can very quickly go into it and realise it's not what you thought, and stuff. It's a lot of hours involved and stuff like that. And so getting to do that with Herbert Smith was my opportunity to see what's actually involved. But again, it showed me that corporate law is not really my thing. And in Anwar, however, the Robertson Trust that was a scholarship that I had it from first year at uni. They provided financial support and things, but more than that, they provided you with support and training and things like that to help you enter into the profession or to enter into the world of work. And they offered you the opportunity to go and find a firm, and they would help with funding so that the firm didn't have to pay you necessarily, but you could do it without there being any financial implications on you or them or the firm. So I contacted Anwar's firm, I contacted him on LinkedIn actually, which was a brilliant tool, and he was up for it. I got that, and that was my first proper experience as a criminal firm, and like getting to see it and see what happens day to day, and all the different types of punters that come through it, like people with so many, like, you know, people with money, people with little money, stuff like that, and it's just seeing it, it's like such a diverse range of people all coming to the same office with similar issues, and getting to see that and knowing that I'd never had that experience before. That was eye-opening, it was brilliant. I loved that. Got to do that for a couple of months. And Amel's office done a lot of things, not only in criminal law, but public inquiries. I was involved in the COVID inquiry, I was involved in the Sheffield Bio inquiry, things like that, that not every criminal firm gets involved in. So I got to see quite a range of stuff at his working in his office. So that was a brilliant experience for me, just personally, in terms of interesting things.
So you've obviously learned a lot along the way in law and the public services. And how would you use what you've learned to advise any students who are thinking about pursuing careers in law or public policy?
I think first and foremost you realise it's not about you as such, it's not about me. When you're working in law or you're working in public service, it's not a personal thing, there's more to it than that. With law, for instance, law existed before you, it'll exist after you. However, the thing about law is you can be part of it in some way, part of its development. If you're interested in it, you want to study it, get a PhD in it, whatever, law allows you to embrace it and to be involved. But I think first and foremost, in terms of public policy, in terms of law itself, you need to be able to extract yourself from thinking this is necessarily about you and see the bigger picture. And that's not a bad thing, that's not criticism, it's a good thing, I would say. Law is it's historic, I mean, that's sitting in a place like here as well. Edinburgh being one of the places that really built it in Scotland in particular, through Enlightenment periods and stuff. I won't go back into what we've learned in the LLB, but when you see what they're part of, it's really exciting. So my advice would be, get involved, don't be a spectator. Like, get involved, do what you want to do, be excited by it, let it drive you forward. Just remember though that it's not about yourself when you're working in it. You don't do it for personal gain as such, you're doing it to contribute to a wider institution really, and when you start to see it like that, it's so much more exciting as well. Same with public policy. One of the big mistakes is thinking that public policy, because you're a member of the public, that you somehow have this inherent right to then push your own agenda. No, there's so much more than that. Working in civil service, working for an NSPBI, recognised, no matter what you think personally, you're contributing to something bigger.
Yeah. Obviously, you've had a wide range of experiences up until now, but in terms of the future, where do you see yourself wanting to progress or going to progress?
I mean, the international law aspect, my international law, my master's in international law and security, I focused on transnational criminal law. I loved that. That was exciting for me. This is going to sound weird, but I love terrorism, like the study of it, the study of terrorism. So that's always been my big interest, like fundamentally. You know, my traineeship now, I get to do criminal law and things, but you don't get to focus on the parts you want to. Like, and it's hard to work in international law without upsticks like and moving away. But I'd love to one day find opportunities where I can do that. You know, you're working with the UN, or you're working with international criminal courts, stuff like that. To find those opportunities, yeah, there's a lot of time to look at it yet, and I don't know what opportunities exist yet. But that's something I'd love to explore. In terms of just now, I just want to get through this next 11 months, 10 months training for traineeship and actually qualify. That'd be a good start for me, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Cheers.